They said the child was quiet because he was shy, but quiet was the wrong word, because quiet things still feel empty, and Elias never felt empty. He felt full, crowded, like something was always standing behind his eyes. From the first night, his parents noticed the house reacted to him, not the other way around. Floorboards groaned only when he crawled, lights flickered when he laughed, and the walls made a soft, settling sound whenever he stared at them too long, as if leaning closer to listen. He didn't cry as a baby. Instead, he watched, unblinking, tracking shadows that weren't there, smiling at corners of the ceiling where the dark seemed thicker. When he learned to speak, he skipped words like love or hunger and went straight to commands, whispering, "Come here," to empty rooms and nodding as if something obeyed. Animals avoided him, and once, when a stray dog growled, Elias tilted his head and the dog collapsed whining, blood leaking from its nose as though something inside it had squeezed too hard. His mother tried to pray one night, kneeling beside his bed, but Elias placed his small hand on her mouth and whispered calmly that prayers made the house angry, and the walls thumped once in agreement. Children who visited never wanted to leave his room, standing motionless, smiling too long, until their parents dragged them away, and later those same children would wake screaming about hands under their skin and voices counting their bones. At school, Elias was polite, perfect, and silent, but classmates began disappearing, one by one, always after being invited to play a game he called Still, where the rule was simple: don't move, don't breathe, don't remember your name. Teachers blamed runaways, accidents, bad luck, but at night, Elias's parents heard crying from inside the walls, layered voices whispering numbers, and the house grew warmer, tighter, like a body gaining weight. One night they found a door in the hallway that hadn't existed before, too small for adults. Its surface scratched from the inside, and carved into it were dozens of names, some crossed out, some bleeding fresh, with Elias's handwriting neat and careful. When they confronted him, he smiled kindly and explained that the house needed room, that people were too loud inside themselves, that he helped by emptying them, and as he spoke, the floor softened, swallowing their feet like wet clay. His mother begged, his father screamed, but Elias only watched, fascinated, as the walls opened like mouths and hands pulled them in, not tearing, not breaking, just folding them away, their faces pressed into plaster, eyes blinking helplessly as they became part of the house's breathing. Years later, new families moved in, always commenting on how peaceful the place felt, how solid the walls were, how safe, and sometimes at night they heard a child humming softly while tracing their names into wood, learning their voices. "Let's play again." The doctor's warning was simple but terrifying. Never leave the child alone, and if he ever asks you to play, say no. Ethan and Mara smiled and agreed, believing it was just another strange medical superstition, because after years of loss, Lucas felt like a miracle. He never cried, never screamed, never laughed like other babies. He only stared with wide, unblinking eyes that followed every movement in the room, even in the dark. At night, Ethan noticed Lucas didn't sleep, just lay in his crib watching, breathing slow and steady, as if waiting. His first word wasn't mama or dada, but again, spoken softly with a smile that didn't belong on a child's face. When Lucas turned 2, he finally asked to play, and despite the warning echoing in her mind, Mara agreed. "Hide," he said calmly, pointing down the hallway, insisting she hide first. That same night, the neighbor's daughter disappeared, and when the news reported no signs of struggle, Lucas clapped and whispered, "She hid good." Scratches began appearing in his room, long and deep, too high for small hands, and when asked about them, Lucas said they were made by the ones who tried to get out. The doctor returned unannounced, pale and shaking, confessing Lucas wasn't their child but something passed from family to family, something that wore a child's shape, something that opened doors. In the basement, Ethan found drawings of families ending in red scribbles, every page marked with names, and one newly written name was Mara's. At 3:17 a.m., Lucas stood beside their bed without a sound, whispering that he was bored. And when the light shattered, the house changed, walls breathing, shadows moving, hands pressing from inside the plaster. They woke tied to chairs as Lucas calmly explained the rules of a new game, his voice layered with something ancient and cruel, while faces of lost children watched silently from the walls. He made Ethan hide and Mara seek, smiling gently as the floor opened and swallowed Ethan whole, his screams ending abruptly. The house burned that night, leaving no bodies behind, only a quiet child sitting by the road, untouched by the flames. When asked his name, he smiled and said he didn't remember, already watching the other houses, already choosing where to play next, already whispering to himself, again.